welcome. We're back. Victor EZ here. Today is another big day, the last leg, so to speak, on the platform. We got to determine how we're going to support those front two sections. The Victor EZ is out in the element at the moment, so we'll have to go out there, take a look at what modifications need to be done, and do some measurements to see how we can support that front section of the bed. So if you're ready, let's go. Now we've got our two front panels out here, and what I've done is I have just put a leg underneath here so we can see where the front edge is going to come. I drew a line underneath there. If you can see this line right here. Now that represents that rail there. So our legs can't come any further ahead than that because the rail gets in the way. So what we need to do is, let's put a stick right there, coming down, straight up and down. And I'll bring it over to the edge and just make sure that that is straight up and down. Okay, so that is good. Our foot will be notched like this, so that this side of it is going to go down in there, and this little piece will sit on top of here. Just want to take a few measurements here to see where our tracks are. And if we look from the far side all the way over, we're looking at 48 inches to the very inside. When you look at mine, this is a bit different probably than yours. Yours probably looks like this. Mine has got the swivel seat, excellent swivel seat. And let's just see what we got here. So from one side to the other, it's a little bit less than 18 inches. And this will be the same over here. If we have the legs underneath, they'll be 3/4 of an inch. We want to make sure that we can still get our containers underneath there, and we can. So we've got lots of room. That is good. What we learned from our measurements in our leg is that the leg is going to have to be flush to the outside of here, because that is 48 inches. And when it's in the folding position, these legs can't stick out past here because of this metal edge. So we have to figure a way to keep them underneath here, and when they fold up, that they meet up with the tracks for the seat, which we know are approximately 18 inches apart. Let's go and look on a piece of paper here for a second. We got a leg on one side that is one like this, so 1.5 inches wide. So let's put that there. And we know they have to be about 17 inches long. Something like that. 17 inches. And at the bottom, we're going to be cutting this like this so that it will notch into the track. So at the top, let's go all the way across, and we'll stop it right about here. And we'll have a leg on this side. Again, 1.5 inches wide. And it will have the same kind of notch. So it will be notched like that. And it's about 17 inches. Now, in between that, what I need is a support. And we know, one thing that we know is that the distance from here to there is 18 inches from the outside to the outside of the track. So what I want to do here is put a piece of 1x3 across here. So that would be like this. Okay, so this is 1x3, which we know is 2.5 inches wide. So we've got that supporting the top. We need another piece across the bottom. So let's put this up. One thing we have to keep in mind is that I've got a swivel seat, which means that this is, one set is going to be 3 inches shorter. But let's just, for the purpose of this, put another piece across here. And that's going to be a piece of 1x3. So that's 1.5 inches wide. And what we will do, we'll put a screw in here like this, a screw in here like that, one screw here, one screw here. And we will be gluing this. So that is what our legs will look like. We can see that. So that's the top rail. There's the bottom, our little notches to go into the track, 18 inches across, approximately 17. We'll figure out that height. First of all, what is the track like? So it's kind of shaped like this. This distance is about 3/8 of an inch, and this goes about 1/2 inch down. So if you can see that. Okay, and that is where the bottom of our leg is going to fit in. So if we can see here, that's where the notch will be. So this notch will fit in to that space. So we have to allow about an extra 1/2 inch. Our measured distance out there was 15 3/4. Okay, that was to the top of the track. So we would have to add another 1/2 inch. So we're going to say 16 1/4. So we know that all our legs are going to be the same length. In your case. In my case, because I have the swivel seat, or if you have a swivel seat, one set of the legs will be 3 inches shorter. So we need 4 legs. And those legs are going to be 16 1/4, so let's cut them at 17. So 4 pieces of 1x2, 17 inches long. Now we're going to need the cross section. So that is these pieces on each side. We're going to need the cross section. The cross section is going to be 18 inches, okay, minus the 2 pieces, which are 1.5. So it's going to be 18 minus 3. So 15 inches. And we are going to need 2 of those. And we're going to need one at the bottom. The one at the bottom is 1x2, and the one at the top is 1x3. So we're going to need 2, 18 minus 3, 15-inch pieces. 1x3, and this is, 1x2 and 1x3. This is just our calculation about the track. The overall length will be 16 1/4. We're going to make them 17, give us a bit of spare. We need 4 upright legs, 1 by 2, so that's 1.5 inches, 17 inches long. A piece of 1 by 3, 15 inches long on each side, so 2 of those, and a piece of 1 by 2, again 15 inches long on each side, so 2 of those. And that's all we need. And what we're going to need is some long screws. So if you can see where I'm suggesting that we screw it together, so in each side here, we're going to screw and glue this together. So we need a total of 4 screws at the top and 2 more at the bottom. So 6 screws altogether. And I am going to use a large screw. I'm going to use a number 12. Okay? And it's going to be, so we need 6 of them, and they need to be 3 inches long. Okay? Because we are going to go through the 1 by 2 all the way in to our cross pieces. Let's just see how much we actually need here. So we need 4 pieces 17, so that would be 68 inches, and that is 1 by 2. And we need another 30 inches here. So we need a total of 98 inches. And we need a total of 30 inches of 1 by 3. Now, when we look at what we've got left, we've got 1 piece of 1 by 2 left, and you should have this piece as well. So if we look at this, we've got a 16-inch piece and a 96. So we're actually going to be 2 inches short if we don't have this piece. So hopefully you've got that piece, because that will do one of these pieces and you'll be fine. So that'll do for the 1 by 2. Unfortunately, we don't have any 1 by 3 left. We only bought just enough, and I had to go out and buy a whole 8-foot length again, and we only need 30 inches. But maybe we'll find somewhere else to use it. Anyway, the other thing that we're going to need is the pieces that we cut off of the piano hinge. So hopefully you've saved those. That is what we're going to use to attach our legs to the front section. So the only other thing is the screws. Home Depot, I got these. So number 12, okay, and I also got round heads. Okay, so round head number 12, 3 inches long. And each of these has 7 in each package, and we just need 6. So we'll have 1 left over in each package. So that once we get it all cut, we should be able to put this all together. So let's go over and get our jigsaw. I've cut all the pieces, and this is the shorter version because I've got a swivel seat. You'll probably just be building 2 identical ones like this. So we've got our 2 15-inch pieces and our 2 17-inch sides. And now we want to screw them together. So we'll put screws 3/4 of an inch down and another one 3/4 of an inch up, so about a 1-inch space. And we're going to put those screws right in the center, and we'll be drilling a hole and recessing the screw so that the head doesn't stick out past here. And once we have that, we'll drill a pilot hole, screw it all together, and we will be gluing this. So I am going to put the lower rail 12 inches down from the top to the very bottom of the rail. And I'm going to do that on both the same. So 12 inches down, 1 3/4 of an inch up for the screw. It'll meet right in the middle. Once I have these all marked, I've taken an awl and I just put a little hole so that the drill bit will go straight in. And we want a small drill bit. This is going to be the size of our pilot hole. Now the next thing we want to do is drill a hole big enough for the head of the screw to be recessed. These are number 12, so it's going to be more than 3/8 probably. We'll get a drill bit. Actually 3/8 looks pretty good. And now we just want to drill in just enough so the head is recessed. So 1/8 of an inch, just the thickness of the head. Now the next thing we need to do is drill a hole for the screw. And I know I'm always going on about this, but we have to drill a hole big enough so that our screw does not bind on the first board. In this case, I've got a 15/64. You could probably use a 7/32, but as long as the head doesn't go through. So now, let's just take a look. Here's our screw, pushes right through, okay, and does not bind. And ideally, once it pulls in, it'll be flush to the surface. So now we'll put our pilot drill in, put this on a flat surface, make it flush to the top, and drill our hole. Once we get the first screw in, you can tap that with a hammer. Just make sure that that's flush to the top and that this is all flush. And we'll drill our other hole. And screw that together. Nice and flush. Once you've drilled them and tightened them down, back your screws back off. Just tap your rail out a bit so there's enough room that you can put some glue in at each joint. Close it back up, and now you can tighten it all the way down. Now we just get ourselves a bit of a damp cloth. Just take any of the excess glue off there. And the last thing we want to do is just make sure that our joints are all in the right place, nice and flat. If you find that this isn't quite flush, just use your adjustable wrench and just tweak it a bit so that it's nice and flush. We should really leave this now for a few hours anyway, just to let the glue set up. But that is our leg. I let the 2 sets of legs dry overnight, and gave them a bit of a sand. The other thing I did is I took those last 2 pieces of piano hinge and cut them to 17.5 inches so they will just fit inside. take a look at how we're going to attach this. Remember, this line is the edge of our angle, so our leg can't go in front of that. But we can actually do a little trick here. We're going to put our hinge just so that it lines up with that, and we will attach our leg to it like this. Slightly inside here, just so that it doesn't bind. And we'll make it so that this leg folds up like this. And the advantage of that is that it pushes our leg ahead, closer to the edge of the bed. In order to make that work, we are actually going to have to notch the hinge into the top here. So if we cut a little notch like this, then our hinge will sit flat. Now normally you could just run that through a table saw, but we can't use a table saw. So what we're going to do is let's draw ourselves a line here. We're going to take that something like that, and we are going to cut that with a knife, because I think that's the only thing we've got to use. Yeah, might as well just use the hinge as the straight edge. So we'll just start, don't push too hard in the beginning. We'll get our line started. And now push a bit harder. We're going to just cut that little piece out of there. So now, if you can see that, we've got a nice little groove there. So our hinge sits right in there, and it'll sit flat like that. I'm going to use some number 6 3/4 inch, because we have 3/4 of an inch there. Just put our hinges a little bit in from the end. Drill a little pilot hole. Now, as you can notice, this hinge is actually upside down. But that's the way we want it. I removed our handle previously so that we can fit this on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this as close as I can to those bolts that hold the handle on. What I'll do is afterwards I'll attach that back on, and if I have to, I will notch this a little bit where the handle gets in between the hinge. So we'll just use 1/2 inch screws here, number 6 again, because that's all that we have, just 1/2 inch to work with. Well, there's our legs. The last thing we need to do is figure some way to keep them from flapping around, and what we're going to use is just a little barrel bolt like this. We'll mount that right in the middle, and we might even put it on a little block just to get it right in the middle of our crosspiece, and then we can lock it in place when it's not in use. This is time to try them out. So there's the legs folding down, hooked on the edge, so we can see where our legs end up, right in the track there, and right and the track over there too. Let's just go take a look at the other side, see how we're doing over there. Well, we're looking good there. So our legs are lined up with the tracks. And now we just have to determine the height. Put a straight edge there. We'll just bring that down. 14 5/8. 11 5/8. Well, those legs fit really well. Little bit of a problem though. If you notice, the measurement was 11 5/8, 11 3/4, and I arbitrarily put the rails 12 inches down. So what it means is that this is going to come right at the track. But I'm going to leave that, make this one 12, and because that's 12, this one has to be 3 inches taller, so 15. And just see if that 1/4 inch difference in the slope matters. And it just may not. So let's go ahead and get our notches done. Well, got the notches done there, and so they fit into the track like that. And you can see that we're not quite level, but level isn't the most important thing. I think that's going to work. And that is solid. Well, that is it. We got legs. The platform is complete. Everything's going to work. So thanks for dropping by. And oh, I wish it was warmer, but it's bloody cold. Anyway, take care. See you again soon. Bye now.